You and the other folks on it, so.
That's fine.
Okay, we have a resolution authorizing the village of Patchogue to enter into a municipal agreement with the county of Suffolk in regards to Suffolk County's coastal resilience project, which is really, comes from a $388 million grant the county has, and the village will require an $18 million piece of that grant. And what I'd like to do is ask Legislator Calarco.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like this, Legislator Calarco, you did very instrumental. Give us some background on it. We'll talk a little bit about our discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and trustees. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight to talk about this potential IMA and what this means for Patchogue Village. So as many of you know, our South Shore was devastated through Sandy, and many of our homeowners are now raising their homes and trying to recover from that. And one of the things the county has targeted in terms of trying to recover and make sure that we're more resilient going into the future is to make sure we take care of our waterways, our bays, the rivers, the estuaries, because they are the buffer that absorbs the storm before it hits us if you have wetlands that are there and thriving. And one of the problems that we have identified very clearly on this island is that we have nitrogen loading that is causing severe problems for our waterways and that system. So we are taking a number of proactive approaches to try to deal with that. But one of the very first was trying to identify where we can implement sewers. Because as we know, septic systems that leach into the ground are one of the primary sources of nitrogen going into our waterways. And in Patchogue here, a very large portion of the village is located within the 0 to 1 year contributing zone for that water. So that means that those septic systems in that area within 0 to 1 years are leaching into surface waters, the rivers, the bays, and not percolating through the system and getting the filter that they might get if you're talking about a 30 to 50 year contributing zone. So this was an important piece of the puzzle, and the county identified areas on the Forge River, the Connecticut River, and the Carls River in Babylon, and I very artfully got into the ear of the county executive to say we need to do Patchogue River as well, and not just Patchogue River, it's really Patchogue River and Tunnel Street. Because we have a large area off of River Avenue of homes and properties that are multi-residential that are not connected, that can be connected to this. And to the foresight of the village, and being able to have, when lines were laid in the ground to connect out of district areas like the condos on the South Ocean Avenue, we made sure that those pipes were sized appropriately and with stubs in them so that future property owners could connect to them. That you really have saved a tremendous amount of money in terms of being able to pull this off. For $18 million, which was all we asked for out of the nearly $400 million grant that the county sought from the state, we will be able to sewer up to 650 properties here in Patchogue. The whole south end of Patchogue Village will be able to get sewered. People who live on our waterways are going to be able to connect to sewer lines at virtually no cost to the property owner, and more importantly as well, no cost to the village of Patchogue and to the residents of Patchogue and the Patchogue sewer system. And yet, it's going to make sure that our waterways are clear, the Patchogue Bay is clear, the Patchogue River is cleaned up, and this is a great opportunity for us to move forward, both for our environment and for the homeowners in South Patchogue. And I can tell you, going back many years, I've had many a resident ask me, are we ever going to get sewers? Are we ever going to get sewers? And people talk about sewers in Patchogue a lot, and they don't realize that most homeowners aren't connected, most residential properties aren't connected. And this is a great opportunity, building off of what you've already done on River Avenue, to continue that process.
Thank you very much. And this intermunicipal agreement, initially, just a little background, initially it was going to be a $15 million grant with us having to borrow $3 million, but through Rob's efforts and my efforts, the board here, taking a position, we can't go into any more debt to do this. I can't ask the residents of the whole village to cover the cost of the sewing of one. And we're able to get it with the $18 million will cover the entire cost, so it's extremely. And I think that it's, I think, a 3-year project, a 4-year project by the time it's going to be done.
it sounds about right. We're not signing May is gonna allow us to start, go out and get a firm, to do the engineering work and get the ball rolling, and then we'll have the construction, and probably built in 2 phases in terms of starting with, connecting the existing homeowners who are on routes that already have lines, say down Cedar Avenue, and then branching out into the other parts of the village, that are not, do not have lines, but are within that catchment area. Streets like Leo and Harrison, and if you drive down those neighborhoods now, you see all those people are raising their homes because they've been affected by the storms, and so those are gonna be the neighborhoods that'll come next, because they need to have a line put into the street.
The system would be very similar, will be basically the same thing we're doing it down at the end of River Avenue. That each home will have its own home. And, it's a pretty good program. But any other questions by the board? Any thoughts? A motion to accept this intermunicipal agreement as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. A resolution designating the Board of Trustees